All right, fire 'em up!
Okay, let's get this over with. So in my lifetime, I've seen quite a few bad movies, but I always try to find something redeemable, some good quality about the film I'm watching to say, hey, well, at least it's X. There isn't any in this film. So what we have in this 2025 remake of War of the Worlds, a second remake if you actually count the first one with Tom Cruise as one, but what we have here is just War of the Worlds in name only. For the vast majority of this film, it's never focused on the fact that there is an alien invasion going on. What we have is Ice Cube, who works for the Department of Homeland Security, sitting behind his computer in search of a hacker who's been posting things about the government. Whether they're true or false is neither here nor there. Spoiler alert, the hacker turns out to be his son. You're not going to watch the film anyway, so who cares? One of my biggest gripes with this film is that they played the Ice Cube character very similar to the way they played Tom Cruise character in the War of the Worlds film from a few years ago. They are both characters who have this just weird, estranged relationship with their children. Yes, in this particular case, Ice Cube's daughter is older, does not live with him. She's pregnant and getting ready to get married and hasn't really told him anything. But there is just this weird dynamic between him and his kids where it seems like he's trying to rebuild the relationship, but at the same time, he's sabotaging it just to try to prove the point that he's always correct. And again, the aliens and alien invasion is going on. They are secondary to everything else in this film, and it's weird. This film is only War of the Worlds in name only. This could have been anything else. If this was an alien invasion movie and he was stuck in his office trying to help his children get to safety, this would have been better. This would have been a much better film. But instead, they went with War of the Worlds. They paid the money for the title, which they actually have to pay for. And they tried to play a little bit of it the way the Tom Cruise film version played out. And they missed the mark on all of it. The directing is bad. The acting is wooden and hollow. And I know some people would probably say, hey, I expect that out of Ice Cube. But the man has done some really good character work in films over the years. And not just for the simple fact that it's Ice Cube, but you also have Ava Longoria and Clark Gregg in this film. You would think that with those three, yes, you may not win an Academy Award for this film, but you would expect much more than what you got out of this film. Everything is just so wooden and hollow and vapid. There is nothing to the acting, and nobody's performances is worthwhile. And do not get me started on the CGI. I guarantee you, if you gave some 10th graders a computer, taught them how to code for maybe 20 minutes and say, hey, make me a movie, they could come up with better graphics and better CGI than what we got in this film. And that leads me to the biggest problem with this film. I didn't know it at the time of viewing, so I had to look it up. But this film was made in 2020, right before the pandemic started. It was supposed to be released in 2020, somewhere toward the end of the year. And you can really tell that now, knowing that, you can really tell that this film is that old. Outside of the CGI looking as bad as it looks, the fact that you understand why none of the main characters are in the same room at any point. The narrative may tell you that these people may not ever be in the same room, but the fact that Ice Cube's character works for the Department of Homeland Security, Ava Longoria's character is the head of the NSA, Clark Gregg's character is also a director for the CIA or some other agency, and they all work hand in hand. They should have at least at some point been in the same room in order to combat the alien invasion. But they never were. But now knowing that this film was made during the pandemic, or at least just before the pandemic, when everybody was going through the separation, now you understand why they were never in the same room, which means they were never able to act out fully what was supposed to be in the script, which that also makes me angry, because you had this movie done in the can, ready to go for 5 years. half a decade and you saw what has become of technology and you looked at it and said, yeah, go for it. Release it. This is going to be good. Somewhere in the background, Batgirl was done and ready to go and they decided to just scrap it. Why didn't they release that film is beyond me. The problems with the film they aren't actor problems. The script is horrible as well. There's nothing for them to act out. Yes, like I said, it's during the pandemic. So obviously anything that they would have been doing together would have been thrown out of the window and everything would have been in a rewrite status. But there is still this lack of emotion, lack of dialogue, lack of everything that would have to go in a script. It is just completely missing. And I'm not talking about just the dialogue between characters, but the reactions, which is on the director and the script at the same time. It's just not there whatsoever. So you have to also put this on the director, Rich Lee. The man is really known for doing music videos. He's done some music videos for a lot, and I mean a lot, of very big artists like Dua Lipa and Eminem, and I mean multiple videos for people like them. If this is his feature film debut as a director, this will probably be his last. There is very much an idea in my head where I'm thinking somebody's going to see this, going to see the reactions, not just mine, but so many others, and say, hey, go back to doing music videos. It's your bread and butter. And trust me, if you look up some of his music videos, you'll understand he's really damn good at them. And truly, I lay part of the blame for this failure of a film at the feet of Timur Bekmambetov. The name might not be familiar to you. Yes, he's a director and he's a producer, and he's done mostly Russian films for Russian release. But he's done some very good American films like Wanted, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, Ben-Hur back in 2016. The man has done good films. He's directed all of those films I just named. So the fact that he was a producer on this one, which really is just the money man who says, hey, what are you doing? I like this idea of this project. Here's the money. Go ahead and shoot me some ideas and tell me what you're going and keep me updated. He gave them the money and was part of the crew to give them the money for this. He was a director. He knows how to do good, Americanized at the very least, films. So you're telling me as a producer and as a director, before he became a full-time producer, he looked at this when it was being done and said, hey, this is good. Keep it going. I don't believe that. I can't believe that. It is insane to believe that somebody saw this film, gave it 2 thumbs up and said, go for it. You're doing the right thing. At the end of the day, this is quite possibly, and I can't see how it could be any other way, the absolute worst film we're going to see in 2025. If there is a worse film that gets released this year before that calendar flips over to 2026, I'll eat my words. And I can't see how some other film could be worse than this. There is no redeemable quality about it whatsoever. Truly, I would rather sit through watching Snow White again than to sit through and watch this. And this was only 90 minutes long-ish. And believe me, it is the longest, most dragging and gnawing 90 minutes I have ever sat through a film. I don't put this on the actors, not completely. This is more of a direction and more of a script problem, but even they gave such dog shit performances. Nothing about this film is good. Nothing. If you want a number rating, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, it's a 1 out of 10. And the only reason I'm giving it a 1 out of 10 is because I do understand the underlying narrative and the lesson that the film aims to teach us. And it's that our digital selves, all of the information that over the years we have offered up online willingly, can and will be used as a weapon against us, whether it's by our government or by an alien force. And I know by saying that, somewhere right now, Aries Spears is laughing his ass off. And if you understand that reference, now you understand why I had to have a drink just to do this review. But yeah, those are my thoughts for War of the Worlds 2025, starring Ice Cube and a few other people. I want to know what you think of it if you've seen it. And if you haven't, don't. Save yourself. Believe me, it is now seared into my brain, and I would never try to put anybody through the type of torture I had to sit through and watch this dog shit of a movie. But those are my thoughts. I'll catch you in the next video. So God bless. I love you and peace. See you next time.